Okay. Um, Hi, my name is Catherine Browning. I'm a student at St. Anne's Academy, and about 10 months ago I embarked on a journey that I had no idea it would change my life this much. I traveled to Tanzania on a missions trip with CPPS Missions. I was there for almost 6 weeks, and I was there with 8 other students from both Kamloops and Toronto. It was kind of weird going over there because I had dreamed of this since I was probably like 10 years old, so for the past 7 years of my life, and I fundraised for it for like the past 2, and going over there and actually seeing all the work that goes into that trip was absolutely insane. As cliche as it sounds, it gave me memories to last a lifetime. Even though it seems like a short trip, I can't imagine my life without having the memories that I have from that place. As sad as it is to have to talk about this because I realize that the trip is over, I'm really thankful that I do still get the opportunity to talk about it, as it is such an important part of my life. And again, I can't see how I would be able to do the things I do without it. And I don't think it's the superficial things that I brought back, like the souvenirs and the postcards, that remind me so much of how thankful I was to go on that trip. It's all the people I met, and it's all the letters that are laying on my desk, and all the emails that I still get because they don't have Wi-Fi, so I only get them periodically. But it's just the things saying I miss you so much and I can't wait for you to come back. And I think those are the things that really make the trip so much more worth going on. So actually on the trip I was in a village of Mahunde for most of it. That was where we built we built a windmill to put the water into the village. And that was our main purpose for going on the trip, but it was so much more than that. We brought rice and beans one day to the 20 poorest families in the village, and that was pretty incredible. It was weird to see how happy they were, even though they had absolutely nothing, and how much we take for granted, and especially water. The day we actually brought water to the village, we had been teaching the kids in the village these songs and the dances almost the whole time we were there, and they had never been brave enough to actually teach us. And then the very last day, when we actually pumped the water out of the pipes, all the moms, they stopped working for the day, and the whole village was in this, it was like a giant piece of dirt. Basically, there was nothing else except these 2 gorgeous urns that we had painted, and our truck, and all 10, maybe 11 of us that were from Canada and from across Europe too, as well as the priests. But then the whole village showed up, and all the moms were there, and they finally taught us how to dance, and they were singing, and they were just so happy and they were so grateful, and I think that's a huge thing that we need to learn from them. Another really big part of my trip was actually out of Mahunde. We were living in a compound run by the mission in Dodoma, and they had a lot of orphanages there, and we actually got to spend a lot of time with them, and it was amazing. That was honestly probably one of my favorite parts of the trip. There was one called the Cheshire Home, and it was an orphanage for children with disabilities. And there was one special girl there, and unfortunately she had Down syndrome, but she was so special. As soon as she saw us, she ran up to me and she just wouldn't let go. And she saw the camera I was holding in my hand, and I was super protective over it for the entire trip. And she kept looking at it, she kept trying to grab it, and I finally showed her, okay, you look through here. And for the life of her, she could not see. And I honestly, it could have been my sunglasses because they were 8 times the size of her face, or it could have been the fact that her smile was honestly so big that her eyes just shut. But she took so many pictures, and she was just the happiest kid. And it was so weird to see how, like, again, how much we take for granted and how privileged we are, and just such simple little things mean so much to people. Talking about all of this is it's really emotionally confusing, because on one hand, I love sharing my experience, and I love telling people about it, and I love educating people on how they can help and how they can make a difference in the world. But it's also really sad, because I wish I was still there, and I wish I was still in the middle of all the craziness that happens. But I'm really thankful that I can talk to other people about it, and hopefully that they can have the same journey too. So I'm really thankful to actually share my experience.